My name is Bob Knight, and I represent the board of the Friends of the First Florida Capitol and the History Task Force of the Bicentennial Committee under the chairmanship of Doug Alderson. It's my honor to introduce the champion of this project, Mayor John Daly. The mayor has led our team and hundreds of volunteers at every step of the way in the building of this magnificent recreation. Mayor, this could not have happened without you. The citizens of Leon County owe you much gratitude for what you have done. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our host for today's dedication ceremony, the Bicentennial Mayor, John Daly.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first to welcome you to beautiful Cascades Park. This is one of the crown jewels of the city of Tallahassee, and I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this extremely special day. It is truly a special day for all of us here in Tallahassee, Leon County. I'm immensely proud to welcome you today as we celebrate the dedication of the First Florida Capitol replica, this building behind me, which many of you have spent countless hours to build as a community. Today we will also be unveiling a historic marker donated by Tallahassee's Historic Society, marking the 200 years of Florida's capital city. In November of 1824, Florida's newly formed Legislative Council held its first meeting in Tallahassee, not too far from where we're standing today, where our new modern capital is located. Honoring our city's history with a replica of the first Capitol cabin actually began in 1924. This is a tradition of our community. In 1924, the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts first built the Capitol cabin along with the Masons to celebrate the 100th anniversary. And in 1974, for the sesquicentennial celebration, then Sheriff Raymond Hamlin Jr., the Historic Tallahassee Preservation Society, and the Tallahassee Lions Club came together to build a replica of the first Florida Capitol. And I was honored to be a part of the tradition this year during our bicentennial as we celebrate 200 years. I want to extend a huge thank you to the hundreds of volunteers that started this time last year. And as we stand here today, a year later, with this incredible replica to tell the story of Tallahassee, Leon County, and the importance that it has to the state of Florida. There are several people I want to thank, many of you here. But first and foremost is a gentleman by the name of Mark Tarmy, who is the architect. Mark, please stand to be recognized. Thank you for all of your hard work, and it is beautiful. When we started this project, I don't know anything about construction or how to build. So I turned to my dear friend Antoine Wright. Antoine is the executive director of Big Bend Habitat for Humanity. And who better to lead a community build than Habitat for Humanity? Antoine, raise your hand so we can recognize you as well. Thank you. You've done an absolutely tremendous job. Many teams within the city of Tallahassee under the leadership of our city manager, Reese Goad, just went above and beyond. And I am so proud to work each and every day with the great men and women of the city. Let me highlight a few of the departments. First and foremost, Ashley Edwards in the Tallahassee Parks and Recreation Department that is nationally recognized for their excellence, bending over backwards to allow us to build and to celebrate here today. Our fleet management, these are the men and women behind the scenes that keep all of the equipment running and making sure that it gets from place to place. When the wood that was donated, and I look forward to telling you that story in a second, they were the ones that went to Levy County to help load it all up and bring it back, help us store it, make sure that we had all the materials that we need to move forward. When I look at the Public Information Office, it's done an absolutely tremendous job promoting this festival, promoting the cabin itself, and of course my team in the mayor's office. Thank you so much. I love each and every one of you, and I love working with you. To my colleagues, I see The Mayor Pro Tem, Curtis Richardson, is with us today. Commissioner Diane Williams-Cox, Commissioner Jeremy Matlow, and Commissioner Jack Porter, who unanimously wrapped their arms around this project and said, yes, this is what we need to do. Our partners at the county, our partners at the school board, and of course our legislative leaders who are here with us today as well. Tallahassee has a remarkable history and an important role as Florida's capital city. The replica of our state's first capital recognizes our past, and building it from the ground up has been a united passion of this entire community, and it unites us in our love for Tallahassee. But that love also extends past our borders. Last January, I got a phone call from a gentleman by the name of Mark Carpenter, and I love to tell this story. See, Mr. Carpenter read an article in Tallahassee Democrat, and he knew what we were trying to do. And he called me up and he said, Mayor Daley, we never met before, but I am a direct descendant of Sherrod McCall, one of the two original builders of the first Capitol building. And my family owns a longleaf pine farm in Levy County, and we have a mill. And our family is going to harvest the pine for your project. We're going to mill all the boards for your project, and we're going to donate it all so that Tallahassee can celebrate in true style. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to recognize Mr. Mark Carpenter, his wife Nadine, their kids, their grandkids, and thank you so much for all the hard work that you have done to help us bring this project to fruition. But I also want to recognize the family of Jonathan Robinson. Where is the Robinson descendants that are here with us today? Mr. Robinson was the other builder that helped build the first Florida Capitol, and I know that we have family that's here representing the Robinson family, and it's an absolute honor to be able to host you today. I want to extend a huge thank you to the more than 200 volunteers that helped build it. Everyone from Sandy, who you probably met, our lead docent, that put our program together, to all the men and women, intergenerational, all different walks of life from all over our community that came out. Secretary of State Cord Bird came out on several different occasions, rolled up his sleeves and was throwing hammers. Senator, it was amazing. And it's been just a true delight watching this community come together to build this replica. Tallahassee has a remarkable history and an important role, and the replica of our state's first Capitol recognizes this. Following today's dedication, the cabin will be open to the public for tours. You can do a self-guided tour, or we have a complete docent program as well. But I think what I am most proud of is the story that will be told. Because, folks, every fourth grader in Leon County Public Schools that participates in a program that we have called the Blended Lives program, they will walk through the Goodwood Museum plantation and learn about our history. They will go to the John G. Riley House and learn about our history. And this year in particular, every fourth grader will visit the first Florida Capitol and learn about our history. And it's such an honor and a privilege to be able to gift this to our children and to be able to use it for educational purposes. Tallahassee was chosen as our state capital because it is a special place and it is full of natural wonder. 200 years later, I think you will all agree it is still a very special place. It's home to our natural beauty. It's home to our incredible people who can achieve anything when we put our minds together. Let us continue to celebrate this bicentennial year, and let's celebrate in style. But ladies and gentlemen, every day I am so proud to be the mayor of Tallahassee, and I think this is the greatest city in the world. But what you might not know is that I also have the opportunity to work with some of the most amazing mayors across the state of Florida and across the country. And you know our story. You had Mr. Williams that climbed on horseback from St. Augustine. You had Dr. Simmons that climbed in a boat from Pensacola. They met halfway. They came up to the red hills of North Florida. They saw the beautiful cascading waterfall and decided this is where the seat of government needs to be. And I'm proud to tell you that I reached out to both of my friends. And they are both here because they recognize the importance of the city of St. Augustine and the city of Pensacola in our history. And we are tied together. So without further ado, I would like to introduce and invite to come speak. And if you'll both just come together, that would be great. Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of St. Augustine, Florida, my dear friend, Nancy Sykes-Klein, please come forward for some remarks, followed by my dear friend, the mayor of Pensacola, Florida, and an FSU graduate, D.C. Reeves. Nancy.
Thank you very much.
Again, thank you so much for being here.
You're amazing. Amazing.
This means
Well, good afternoon. I'm excited to be here representing the city of St. Augustine. And my deepest thanks to Mayor Daley. You know, he's a wonderful person who has been a great host to us and has just poured out his warmth and hospitality in the finest manner. So, Tallahassee, I hope you appreciate him appropriately. It is really my pleasure and honor to be here today. Mayor Reeves, this is a historic moment in history for our two cities. St. Augustine, well known for being the nation's oldest city, was founded in 1565 and is recognized as the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in the continental United States. It also served as the first capital when the territory was transferred from the Spanish in 1821. Its strategic location and rich colonial history laid the groundwork for Florida's early governance and cultural development and helped shape the region's political landscape. Pensacola, on the other hand, has arguably been in existence just as long, if not even longer. But suffice it to say, regardless of who was established first and who has been here the longest, without either of our cities, we might find ourselves here today in this Tallahassee, might not find ourselves today here in this Tallahassee, but somewhere else in the great state of Florida. Centrally located between St. Augustine and Pensacola, Tallahassee was established as the capital in 1824, and not only symbolizing a compromise between the eastern and western parts of the state, but also making a new chapter in Florida's political evolution, honoring the historical significance of both sides while creating a new political center that could foster growth and unity in the region. Ambitious from the beginning, we stand united with you today, Tallahassee, hoping that together we leave behind a legacy of ambition for the next 200 years. Congratulations, Tallahassee.
thank you. Oh, perfect, Nancy. Perfect. Thank you. DC?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor to be here to celebrate this 200th birthday. And Mayor Daley, it's an honor to just be asked to be part of this. When Tallahassee was founded in 1824, the territorial government sought to place the capital where all Floridians could be represented. At that time, Pensacola to the west, St. Augustine to the east were the largest settlements in the territory. These cities represented the rich diversity of our people, from Spanish explorers and French settlers to Native American communities. So a site equidistant to Pensacola and St. Augustine, Tallahassee was chosen as the new capital. Mayor Daley mentioned I am an FSU graduate, and as a Pensacola native, I have retraced this path down Interstate 10 many, many times. But instead of blazing a new future, I was merely bringing home laundry in college in hopes my mother would help me. I was desperate. Pensacola was already a city of its own vibrant history, tracing back to 1559. Over 250 years separated the founding of Pensacola as one of America's oldest European settlements and the establishment of Tallahassee as our state's capital. Each step along the way, our cities have shared a role in shaping the identity, character, and spirit of Florida. Though our histories are distinct, we've long been bound by a shared sense of purpose, of establishing Florida as a place of opportunity, diversity, and resilience. While Pensacola was a bustling port city on the Gulf Coast, Tallahassee became the political heart of our state, leading Florida through times of challenge, progress, and change. As sister cities, we complement each other, Pensacola as a gateway to the Gulf, and Tallahassee as the state's guiding light. For 2 centuries now, our cities have collaborated and supported each other, always remembering that our strength lies in our unity. We stood by each other in times of hardship, celebrated milestones together, and worked in tandem to preserve Florida's unique heritage. This bicentennial is not only a celebration of Tallahassee's 200 years, but a reflection of the bonds we have built together as Floridians. Pensacola and Tallahassee have always supported one another, whether by sharing resources, collaborating on critical issues, or coming together in times of need. We know that our futures are intertwined, and we look forward to the next 2 centuries of shared progress. Today, we honor Tallahassee's past and celebrate its vital role in guiding our state's path. As Mayor of Pensacola, I'm proud to stand here today in solidarity and friendship, offering congratulations to our friends and colleagues in Tallahassee. Mayor Daley, today we're honored to present to you a resolution recognizing Tallahassee's bicentennial with our city seal affixed this 10th day of November 2024. I wish you a happy bicentennial, Tallahassee. May your next 200 years be filled with prosperity, unity, and progress for all who call Florida home. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Wow. DC, thank you. This is absolutely fantastic.
Okay, Jimmy.
Love you both. Thanks for being here. What a special treat to have our colleagues from St. Augustine and Pensacola here. Nancy, DC, thank you so much. It means the world to Tallahassee that you were able to come and join us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take a second to recognize a few incredible people right here in Tallahassee. First and foremost, let me introduce my beautiful wife, Virginia Daly, and our 2 boys, Tommy and Henry. Please stand. Boys, stand up and give them a quick wave. Ladies and gentlemen, the congressman that represents our district, Neil Dunn. Congressman Dunn, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, I see Judge Ashanafi Richardson is with us as well. It's great to see you, Your Honor. And ladies and gentlemen, the longest serving directly elected mayor of the city of Tallahassee, Mayor John Marks, thank you so much for coming out today and being with us. So we laugh all the time because we've gotten to be extremely good friends. And I got to tell you, in the day of politics, you don't find them any better than the chair of the Leon County Commission, Carolyn Cummins. She is a true stateswoman. We have thoroughly enjoyed serving together. Come on up, Carolyn. We have thoroughly enjoyed serving together during the bicentennial. A lot of the ceremonial things representing the county and representing the city. And Carolyn, I just want to personally thank you for everything that you do for our community as serving as the chair of the Leon County Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, your chairwoman, Carolyn Cummings. Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, everyone. To our great Mayor Daley, thank you for those comments. And he has to be the absolute greatest mayor of the state of Florida.
There you go, DC. There you go, Nancy.
The greatest mayor of any city in the United States of America. And he's just done a great job. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
I just love him, and he does a great job of representing Leon County, Tallahassee. But good afternoon, everyone. As he indicated, I'm Carolyn Cummings, chairperson of the Leon County Board of County Commissioners. And it's just wonderful to be here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon to celebrate the bicentennial. I want to just take a minute, if I have any of the fellow county commissioners here, if you'll raise your hand, I'd like to acknowledge them, and they might be on their way. But as you all know, yesterday was filled with heritage walks, live music, and opportunities to honor Leon County and its 200th year journey. Today's events continue that spirit as we celebrate our history, our stories, and all that makes our community very, very special. So on behalf of the Leon County government and our entire Board of County Commissioners, I just want to again thank Mayor John Daley, the City of Tallahassee, and the First Florida Capital organization for their hard work in making today's festivities possible. The mayor has done a great job in giving accolades to all of those who contributed to the building of this replica and all of those who have been involved with the centennial celebration. So I won't go over those, so my remarks will be very, very brief. But I also extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests, all of our distinguished guests, including Mayor Nancy Sykes Klein of St. Augustine, whom we heard of, and Mayor D.C. Reeves of Pensacola. So we're thrilled to have you all with us as we mark this very, very historic occasion. I also want to thank the Leon County Division of Tourism. I want to thank Ms. Carrie Post for leading this year-long tribute to the bicentennial of our community. Ms. Post, are you here? Raise your hand. Let's give a round of applause, please. But as you know, this has not just been a celebration of 200 years of Leon County, but it's also been a tribute to the major role Leon County played in the history and growth of not only Leon County, but of the entire state of Florida. From its earliest days, Leon County has been a foundation for the state, rich in heritage, rich in culture, and rich in community spirit. And we see that community spirit displayed today in the presence of all of you. So may this replica stand as a symbol of our enduring commitment to democracy and civic pride, and may this replica also remind each of us of the vision and resilience that have shaped Leon County, shaped Tallahassee, and shaped the entire state of Florida over the past 200 years. So thank each of you for your support, for making this bicentennial year an unforgettable year. So let us all continue to enjoy this weekend. Let's cherish every moment, and let's celebrate how far we have come as a united community and how far we have yet to go. So may God continue to bless each of you, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for this opportunity.
Thank you. I love you. You're wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Today marks a special day, the 200th anniversary of the first legislative session that took place in the first Capitol building here in Tallahassee. And it obviously wouldn't be complete without having the state leadership be here with us today. And our last two speakers are no strangers to Tallahassee. You know, folks, a lot of times in today's society, and we just went through the elections and everything, you always hear of the bad and the negatives. And I'm here to tell you that the two gentlemen that have come to represent both the Florida Senate and the Florida House of Representatives have been incredible partners to myself, to the city of Tallahassee. You think about through your leadership and through your terms of where you have been, the investments, whether it's the new EOC, whether it's the other work that we've done through appropriations, the direct support from the legislature to the city of Tallahassee, and we appreciate it. And it's an honor and a privilege to have you here today. First and foremost, to introduce the incoming president of the Florida Senate, someone who definitely needs no introduction. He served on the Leon County Commission. He served as superintendent of schools. He served as our senator in the Florida Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and yours, Bill Montford.
He left one thing out, and I'm the best looking office holder there's ever been in here. Okay. But standing next to John, that's not saying too much, you know what I mean? Good afternoon, and welcome to this very, very special occasion. John, the Mayor, thank you and your staff, your colleagues, and all the volunteers for a wonderful, wonderful project. When John called me and asked me if I would play a minor role in it, and all I had to do to get the Senate President to come. I said, I think I can probably handle that, but that's about it. But this has turned out so wonderfully well. Two people who know me very well said, be brief, so I will. So to make it even better, I'm going to ask my good friend, come on up, Ben. You know, you introduce somebody and you say, come on up. I want you to look at him when I'm talking about him. Ben Albritton, and I want to give a couple of special things. You stand here where everybody can see you. Yeah. Ben, not only is a dear friend, he went to Florida Southern. He was elected to the House of Representatives, did an excellent job there, put his mark on Florida in the House, and then we said we need him in the Senate. He was elected to the Senate, did an absolutely wonderful job in the Senate, and then his colleagues, which is the highest honor you can have, now has selected him to be the president of the Florida Senate. What an honor that is. And I can go on with all the formal stuff here that somebody gave me to talk about you. But let me tell you what I think about Ben Albritton. If I didn't know better, I would think he's from Bluntstown. And that's about the best compliment I can give him. All right. It says here he's from the Heartland, but I believe our two mayors, Pensacola and St. Augustine and Tallahassee, the Heartland, we believe, of Florida is right here. It may be in Wauchula sometimes, but most of the time it's right here in North Florida. Neil Dunn knows that. He says that all the time in Washington. The heartland of Florida is North Florida, right, Neil? All right, let me tell you, let me seriously just for a moment, and the mayor alluded to this. I don't think there's ever been a time in history when we have needed true leadership at the local, state, and national level that put people first. Put people first. Ben Albritton has done that his entire political career, but just as important, he has done that in his own personal life as well. I know Ben well enough to know that family comes first. Family and God comes first. That's what drives Ben Albritton. What better person do we need in state leadership than somebody like Ben Albritton? In closing, I will tell you that my parents, when I grew up, it was real simple. If they told me Mr. Smith and whomever is a good man, I knew what that meant. A good man meant two or three things. One is his word is his bond. The handshake is all you need. And Ben Albritton, is a good man. And he's my friend. By the way, he's always been my friend. He was my vice chair when I was chair of a committee. But now that he's Senate president and controls the money, he's my real good friend.
How about that? So, hey, first and foremost, I want to say thanks to Mayor Daley. What an incredible honor it is to be here with you today and to be able to share a couple of thoughts with you. Number two, Bill Mumford, I love you, and there's nothing you can do to change it. So as I stand here, I want to just take a second to explain to you a little perspective. So in 2010, Missy and I decided to run for the Florida House. Momentary lapse of judgment. Ended up getting elected. So we decided at that point to begin homeschooling our kids, and we moved up here, and we would come up and stay in Tallahassee for several months a year, not just during the legislative session, but we began to create a life here too. And not on the thoughts that we would be here a long time, but what we knew is that doing this together with our family really, really mattered. And at that point in 2010, I didn't know it, but we now have fallen in love with Tallahassee. Now, Bill, there is not a big difference between Wauchula and Bluntstown, for sure. I'll give you that one every single day. And Neil will agree that we can have two Heartlands in Florida. That is fine. But this city has a lot to offer. A little perspective for you. This event was opened in prayer. We have a U.S. Constitution, and in the First Amendment protects our rights to do such a thing. It protects our rights to come here as a community and be able to just enjoy each other, to be able to celebrate what Tallahassee has to offer. And nobody's going to come here and drag us away for exercising those rights. Folks, I'm going to tell you this is a big deal. And there are people all over this world that would give everything they had to have that kind of protection and those kind of rights. So I would encourage all of us, including myself, to not forget how important those things are and those protections of our rights are and those freedoms and what they mean in the lives of our families, our communities, and our state. The second thing, looking at this building, it makes me think about in 1824, when the first 13 or so folks got together to talk about Florida. I wonder what their conversations were like, right? I've been involved in politics here for 14 years and have seen topics come and go. But it makes me wonder, what if somebody would have said to those people that 200 years from now, 23 million people will be scattered around this state? They likely would have said, in that swamp? But I'm going to think about the magnitude of that, right? How far we've come. 23 million people. Energetic, diverse, dedicated to Florida. What a blessing, right? What a blessing. The last thing I want to leave you with is this. We are on the verge of Veterans Day. If you are a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, please raise your hand. Let it not be lost on any of us that the reason we can bask in that freedom that I just described is the sacrifice of those men and women and countless others that lost their lives for us to be afforded that freedom. So tomorrow, when we celebrate Veterans Day, let's renew and redouble our efforts. Let's renew our focus on making sure that any veteran we know take the positive step to reach out and tell them thanks personally. Make sure that they know that their sacrifice, their commitment, and their devotion to this country means something and will always mean something. The freedom we have is incredible. Let's not take it for granted. And the last point that I want to make is I expect this may draw a little applause. Aren't we happy that in the 1970s they didn't decide to move the capital to Orlando? Yeah. Yeah. God works in great ways. God bless all of you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thanks so much. Let's continue to focus on unity. Let's continue to focus on thoughtfulness. Let's continue to focus on doing things that make our community stronger. God bless you. Thank you for this.
Mr. President, thank you so much for coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, highest ranking official on the state level that is with us today, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He has served our state and our community also with dignity. And we're very proud to have Speaker Renner with us. For a formal introduction, I'd like to ask my dear friend Frank Terra Firma to come forward. The gentleman that introduced me was Bob Knight, and this is Frank. Bob and Frank are actually the visionaries behind all of this. It was Bob and it was Frank that first came to me last year and said, we have to build this Capitol. We have to celebrate the bicentennial in the proper way. Bob, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the Friends of the First Florida Capitol, Frank Terra Firma. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Mayor, for those words, and thanks to everyone for being here today. As the mayor mentioned, this project began literally about a year ago when the mayor said, yes, we're going to build this cabin, we're going to get this project done. But since that time, it's been a labor of love by many, many, many people, from the folks that helped build this, to the folks that helped write all those panels, to Mark Carpenter, milling the wood. I mean, you name it, it's been a labor of love for so many, many people. So history is certainly one of my passions, and one of my other passions is in the area of my work and in politics and in campaigns. So I'm really blessed and honored to be able to give you a quick introduction of our current Speaker of the House, and Paul Renner. And Speaker Renner represents Flagler and St. Johns County, and in the last 2 years of his term, which is right now, he with redistricting, when the new maps came out, he looked at the map and said, you know, I'm going to be representing St. Augustine now. And he's like, that's really cool. And Speaker Renner is someone who is a compassionate person, who loves Florida, loves his family, and he really values history. And as someone who represents St. Augustine and represents the Florida House as Speaker of the House, it's my honor to introduce him here to you for some very brief remarks. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Frank. It's great to be with you guys. And as you guys heard a little bit ago, there were two sessions, territorial sessions, before they met here in Tallahassee, Pensacola being first, and then St. Augustine. And of course, St. Augustine took the sea route. So they went all the way around from St. Augustine, all the way around the peninsula to Pensacola. And of course, Pensacola the next year took the land route. And I don't know if that's because the St. Augustine folks, my folks, felt like it was safer that way, or if they were just geographically challenged. But, of course, there was no interstate system. There weren't any cars. And so here in 2024, we would have that kind of Cuba stopover, except today we call it the Busy Bee. But, 1824 was a long time ago. For those of you guys that have seen the Taylor Sheridan show, 1883, about how brutal it was and how easy it was to die quickly back then. 1824 was a long time ago. And as President Albritton said, they had God, they had their family, and a complete determination to survive. And that's pretty much what they needed for those 7 generations that brought us to this moment where we've got now some of the wood from that same plantation, perhaps, or at least the same family in this building. And so, as we look at history, I think it's important we come together to kind of reflect on where we've been. There's things that we're not proud of, but there's a lot of things we are really proud of. And it's also a time to think about this, about what happens 100 years from now. Because we've all been, you can go in there and I see the photos from the Centennial, and you look and you see the funny hairstyles. Everybody's got kind of odd dresses and suits. No motorcycles. But they got these funny hair styles and these funny suits, like the gentleman back here under the tent. And they've taken our photos here today, and I'm here to tell you in 100 years that'll all be us. They'll look at us that way as well. But what is our state going to look like in 100 years? And I'll just close by saying a little Jewish parable that I mentioned in my opening day remarks 2 years ago. And it goes to our obligation, which is the story of an old man who was planting some fruit trees. And somebody came up to him and said, "Why are you planting these trees when you will never be able to see before you pass the fruit come to these trees?" And he said, "Well, I'm doing it because when I came into this world, people before me had planted trees, and I enjoyed the fruit from those trees as I grew up and became a man." That is our obligation. We have a moral obligation in 2124 to deliver this state better than they found it, better than they found it in 1924, and better than we are here today in 2024. And I know the people in this audience are committed to that. The people in that legislature are committed to that. And God willing, we'll see an even stronger Florida in 100 years. God bless you guys.
To all of our honored guests that are here today, to the mayors, Madam Chair, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the city of Tallahassee, we have made a plaque where we have found the original headlines from the Pensacola Gazette and the West Florida Advisor and the East Florida Herald, talking about the first legislative council that took place. And we have displayed them on this plaque to commemorate today's first legislative session. So, Mr. Speaker, it's my honor to present this to you.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Mr. President,
Wow.
absolutely. On the chair. Read. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our program. Thank you so much for coming out. I hope you're sticking around for T-Pain tonight. He's going to rock the house. The Capitol is open. Please come take a tour and take a walk through living history. Thank you all so much. Happy Bicentennial.